yeah. I don't believe in destiny, I just do what's best for me. Don't listen to my enemies, they're just full of jealousy. Yeah, this legacy, you gon' see what's left of me. You gon' see success in me, you ain't seen the rest of me. I just wanna be the best at what I know, better than the rest, just watch me grow. Put me to the test and watch me go. This is my quest, I'ma make it known. They call me obsessive, oh I know. Call me selective with my notes, call me aggressive with my flow. Call me offensive even though Joe, I ain't gonna lie, life's tough. Try to get by, life's rough. Try to do it right, it's not enough. Even though you try, you still mess up. But I'm still gonna fight for what I love, still gonna die for what I love. Still gonna try, I won't give up. Still gonna fight until I've won. They say I'm way too obsessed and I've got nothing left, and I'm not quite there yet, but those words they'll regret. Cause I've got something left and I'm not giving in. I will not let them win, I won't stop till the end, no. Some injuries, mentally and physically. Studied them religiously so I don't repeat history. And people won't admit to me they don't want a victory bad enough to get a C. They'd rather just go leave it be. I know this journey I've been on since 13, working hard and learning, never stopping searching. Yeah, it's burning, all this passion hurts me. I took action working, writing down these words. No, I'm not okay, I just wanna be something. I don't wanna be nothing, living all alone. No, I'm not alright, I'm just barely getting by. But I'll tell you I'm just fine, so you leave me alone. They say I'm way too obsessed and I've got nothing left, and I'm not quite there yet, but those words they'll regret. Cause I've got something left and I'm not giving in. I will not let them win, I won't stop till the end, no.
Yo, what is going on, everyone? Welcome to another Saturday update. It is the 10th of May, and you know what, you guys? It is awesome outside. May is a perfect time to come visit Oregon, with the exception of the pollen. My allergies have just been like Mike Tysoning me in the face this entire week, but Mike Tyson in his prime, not when he was fighting Jake Paul. So, but what is up? Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out. There's not a whole lot of updates to talk about as far as books or writing. I've been able to get some editing done and just kind of listening through Microsoft Word's narration review playback. I've been able to update just a few things. I think I've only added a couple hundred words to the manuscript so far on Golem Master Book 3, but it's been pretty fun to just re-listen to everything, take a few notes on things that I need to fix or add or change for book 4 going forward. But so far, it's been really fun. It's been really great to do that. I do feel bad that I have not been doing as much writing as I actually should be doing. but there's also a whole lot of planning that I really need to do for book 4, just in getting those plot points put out, as you guys know from what I've talked about in the past. So I've done planning, but this is a lot more of the discovery writing at the same time, where I just put the plot point where I need to get from A to B, and I let myself come up with the connection as I write. And so it's been really fun. But it's just one of those things where I need to sit down and do it. I need to plan it all out. Book 4 is, I'm a little nervous as far as how far we're going to go. I could do a time jump and I could really push the series forward, or I could try to continue to take things step by step as I have, more of that slice of life variation of things. But with that being said, it's it's just interesting to see where the story is going and what I need to do. There's a lot that happens in the second half of book 3. So for those of you who have read book 1 and those of you who may have gotten advanced reader copies of book 2, you kind of get the feel of the setup that I do for the Golem Master series, where, you know, a good first half or first third of the book is really kind of building the scene and the setting that our main character Pepper is in. And so with book 4, it's going to be very interesting because there isn't that scene change. So in book 1, we have Pepper at his home, and you get to understand the world building and where he is in life. At the very beginning of book 2, it's his transition down to Atlanta, Georgia, and what's going on there. And book 3 is then that initial starting point of what happens after book 2, or at the end of book 2. So, and there's a lot of build there. So of course with book 4, it's just very interesting because I don't know if I really have, I don't have that. You know, the scene has been established in book 3 now. So it's just very interesting as far as like thinking about how I'm going to go about. I already have book 5 scene in my head. I know exactly where book 5 is going to start. I just now need to get into book 4. So with that, just trying to come up with the differences with all of those unique things and unique qualities. It's going to be interesting. So there is still some really dramatic events that need to take place in book 4. I thought I was going to hit them in book 3, but just the way it naturally progressed, kind of like we talked about, those plot points. It's really interesting how that's going to go. So we'll see. But I'm excited for book 4. And I think like I have some ideas of what can happen, and I think it's going to be really cool. So we'll just go there and just start planning it out. So hopefully, I am currently at about page 70 in the review process out of 416 pages that I need to review. So on the second pass, right? Listening to it at least. So listening to it, I am not even a quarter of the way done yet. And that was from this week. And as you guys can probably tell and imagine, I am nowhere near close to being done with that, but I would love to wrap it up in May. If I can. It's going to be really hard, but I really would like to wrap up the second pass in all of May. That way, I would really like to start planning out and plotting out book 4 in May, so I can give myself some time in June to really write. And then in July, as you guys know, we have Lit RPG Con down in Denver. I hope you guys are going to be there. I hope I can see you there and hang out with all of y'all. That would be really cool. But yeah, so I mean, we've just been going on. So book 4 is going to be really interesting. It is going to go to editing at the end of July, so I'm really excited about that. I know Catherine, she has already planned and expecting a 200,000 word book. So I told her, I said, you know what, there's no rush on getting the editing done. You know, if it takes 2 months at this point, it's okay. The pre-order is up for the Kindle or Kindle Unlimited as well. The pre-order is going to be set for a year from now. So I think it's like April 19th is when it's currently scheduled to be published, but obviously that is just the year marker. So it'll allow me some time to move up that publication date to a sooner date. With that being said, I am mixed and I am torn on whether or not we should release Golem Master 3 before Christmas, but we'll see. We'll see. So that is the current updates on Golem Master 3 and 4, what I'm kind of been working on and what's going on with that. But also some updates on Golem Master, the audiobook. So thankfully, I did get to hear back from Daniel Wisniewski, and we absolutely love Daniel. I'm super excited about the audiobook. So with that being said, we were originally slotted for May. We were slotted to start recording this month, and we've been waiting a long time. But unfortunately, as in all things, some stuff had to get pushed back. There was some construction being done and some other things to where Daniel could not record. So we are now pushed back on the schedule. How far back? I am not sure. Obviously, there's so many different factors as far as after 5 hours of being in the recording studio and recording, your voice is shot. You as a narrator want to make sure you have great quality and great production for the authors and the readers that you're supporting. So, you know, there's a lot to weigh in as far as when he's going to get to it. But the good thing is we're still on board. We are still moving forward towards that recording date. And obviously, I'll just keep you guys posted when the audiobook is going to be done and everything else. Oh, Big Richie coming in. Look at the sexy hoodie. What's up, my dude? Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out with us. So we did some updates on Golem Master 3. I'm currently at page like 70 of 416 for doing my second pass. It's still being released on Royal Road for those of you guys who want to check it out there. Yeah, book 4, still working out some of the plot points in my head, some of the different things that we need to do. So we kind of end book 3 on somewhat of a cliffhanger. So what I was also talking about, Richie, is how I think people who have read book 1 and book 2 and even read book 3 on Patreon or on Royal Road or Patreon, they understand like the setup where I normally build the scene in like the first third of the book. So you understand exactly where Pepper is, what's going on. Well, in book 4, I won't have that because we've built it all in book 3 and we leave on a cliffhanger. So I'm like, well, I'm not setting up a new scene. So it's just this weird feeling of how to adapt that in Golem Master book 4. But there's just a lot we need to work on. So, or I need to work on. It's on me. It's not on anyone else. But yeah, so Richie, just chilling at work, bro. Thank you for the ARC copy of book 2, my dude. Of course, absolutely. Thanks for all the love, the support, sharing and talking about it in all the different social medias, the Reddits, the Facebooks, the everythings, the reviews on Amazon. It all makes a huge difference. So thanks, man. I appreciate it for having me on the podcasts and everything. It's been a great time. So, okay. So you guys, that is currently the updates as far as that. Now, I think we just need to talk about it because I can't hide it anymore. Oh, it is Sergeant Quiones coming in. Hey, TJ, what's up, my dude? How are you? I got the edits. Awesome. Well, good. Yeah, I saw you were in there the other day going through that. So that's awesome. I'm glad. I'm just glad to see you back in there, man. And I'm glad that you're working on getting that full, just getting back into your routine. Hopefully you can get some words knocked out. It'll be exciting once you're all done with it. As you know, there's so much work that goes into this second career. So, but yeah, thanks for tuning in, man. Thanks for hanging out. This is awesome. So we've already gone over the updates as far as Golem Master Book 3, Golem Master Book 4. And I know that there's at least going to be 5 books because I know exactly how, dude, my allergies are killing me. I've got some stuff in my eye. It's bugging me. I know exactly where Book 5 scenes start. I know the last scene of Book 5, like how we sign off. And I'm excited, but I am not ready to get there. but I don't like the way these are a little distorted. They're a little out of proportion, I feel like. Yeah, they're a little out of proportion, but we cannot, I can't hide it anymore. The secret is out. The secret project that I've been working on for the last couple of months. Let's go ahead and showcase this. The Golem Master trading card game. And let me just go ahead, even though I hate to do this, let me take away this overlay so you can see my ugly ass face. The Golem Master trading card game. Now, if you guys remember, this was something that over a year ago we had talked about on the live streams. We had joked about it. We had laughed about it of like, hey, we should do a trading card game. And of course, I was sitting at the table in the apartment and I was like, hey, what do you want me to work on? Do you want me to work on a trading card game, a board game, or the books? Because I only have so much time. Well, what I found was there was some free time for my brain to start working after I talked about that on the live stream. I don't know. Let me see. You've reached, I wonder, wait, Shift 6. I'm trying to see if I can make this any bigger. There we go. That might be, is that pretty good? What about this one? No. All right, so this one's going to be the best for us. Okay, so back in March, I was starting to think about it, and I was like, okay, what could I do? How could I work on this? Q coming in. I want all of them. Dude, there's 107 now. So that's, and as you guys can see, like when I made the boxes, the shipping boxes for Golem Master 2, like obviously Warrior Bernard was still taking a break from the Patreon. So we put that note in there. Well, then I had already made these two cards. So, you know, I was already gonna, you know, that was my special thank you to him for just being a warrior for so long. And he's just been a huge support. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to make these. These are going to be the special items to give away. And then I started to slowly make my way down the Patreon group and having the other characters, you know, added into the story and their trading cards, whatnot. So then, of course, I went and got the next set of art done. I got those cards in. I then printed the next set of I think I had like 60 or 70 cards at the time. So I made my note and I got everything ready to ship. Well, then as that break happened, then I was able to get with the 107 cards made. So it's still not fully complete. And the reason I say that is I can actually show you guys. Let me open up the PowerPoint here. Oh, this is perfect. Okay. Oh, how do I guess that'll work. All right. So I've been making this PowerPoint presentation of like how the rules would go. I want them all, take my money, right? So I have basically Pepper kind of going through and explaining the rule set. There we go. So he's just kind of going through, explaining it. We talk about the setup. So the current setup, it's very much like the Pokemon setup where except you only have your main golem card here. You have all of your upgrades or your melee upgrades. You then have the materials and health points. You have your active augment, your junkyard or discard pile. You have your match augment, and then you have your runes and your energy that you would stack onto your runes in order to use them, right? So you only have one golem that you have in play, but you're able to play down different rooms. And you can either use the magical attacks with that, or you can just do melee attacks with your golem. But in the upgrades, you could like have a dual sword or a battle axe or whatever. So there's these different upgrades, and that's kind of the mechanic of it. Is just like in the story, how you're building and crafting your golem and your build of your golem, you're actually doing that live as you play the TCG against someone else. So it's not necessarily which golem or which Pokemon you have. It's all of the materials and the assets that you build that makes it unique and different. And that's kind of where, like I said, like it may not even be the golem that you have, but it's like which runes you're putting into your deck, what supporter cards you're adding into your deck to get you exactly where you need to go. So that is how the structure is built. You then obviously have the upgrade cards, which we can go over and I can show you guys. You have your different runes and how that happens. You have your different materials. So you have clay, you have stone, you have metal, demonic metal. I still want to do some wood. So different types of wood. I just don't know how I would do that. I would probably just make them equal to clay in some way. So I got to figure out, how exactly that would come into it. And then, of course, you have just two different types of energy. You have a standard energy, you have a refined energy. And this also may change in the future. But the reason why I say that is because I designed this advanced power core. So you can have a large power core, modified power core, and an advanced power core, which allow you to have different abilities of applying energy to the cards. So so instead of having the different types of energy you would see in Pokemon, it really comes down to what equipment and tools you put into your build to make the deck better. So that's how that works. You then are going to start out with 7 cards in your hands. Your golem is already going to be in play. And then, then you just have your turn of operation. So I've already started to try to work on the rule set using Pepper here and all the graphics to make it cool and exciting and fun. But that is that. So then back to the actual cards themselves. So these are more than likely going to be rearranged once we kind of get them more solidified. But this was basically the order in how they were created with all the artwork and stuff. So obviously I started out with Panda Cakes. I started out with Golem Master Bernard. And then from there, once I had, the setup, the standard setup, and once I had the full art variant, that's when I was like, okay, let's go this route. Let's actually put some effort into this. So then it was, well, wait a minute. I have all of this artwork for the book covers already. So that's when I can make Pepper. That's when I can make Mala. That's when I can make Amperage. That's when I can make Nightmare Mala. That's how I can make SEC Pepper, because we already had book 2 covers done. And we also had book 3 covered almost done. So then at the same time, it was like, okay, so this is obviously, as you guys know now, with the book 3 cover being released officially. Here's the background to book 3's cover. So then we had Kionis made. Obviously, you can see Stephen Landry. His background is just a variation of book 2's cover. I just changed it up, the color scheme a little bit. Then, of course, we had Kyle, who was made. We had Ryan Maxwell. Geneva and Emily, they're made for Lit RPG Con. So this would be the standard variation that you're going to see in Season 1. There's going to be a special teal version made, and it has a special edition print down here at the bottom. So it basically says, like, the green version is only going to be available for those who are at Lit RPG Con in 2025. And so more than likely, Lit RPG Con 2026, I'll have another special card made just for that event. So you guys have got to make sure you get out there. You got to make sure that you get your hands on one of these. So what it is this will be the standard card. The green variation of the standard card is what we'll do for individuals who are just there in attendance. If you come and you show up to Lit RPG Con, you can absolutely get one of these standard cards. The full art version, if you are there at Lit RPG Con and you come up to me and show me that you have either left a review of Golem Master, or it's in your library on Kindle, or in your library of Audible, or you have a pre-order in there for some of the other books, anything that shows that you already have read Golem Master, reviewed Golem Master, or have it in your library, then you can get the special full art variation. So you could walk away from Lit RPG Con with 2 special editions of these cards that are only going to be available, but this would be the standard set. So that's why I'm really excited for Lit RPG Con in order to get 2 of these cards. Okay, so then we have the DMV, which is in book 3. So for those of you who have already been reading on Royal Road or Patreon, the DMV is I think it's just about to happen on Royal Road. But we cover more of the DMV and what that stands for and what his function is. But then we have Drebin. So for those of you who are fans of the Dying Breed Enslavement series, Drebin the Dreadful has made a full appearance. That is the surprise. Drebin the Dreadful is back from the dead. And what's really fun is how he's introduced into the Golem Master world. Drebin himself is like reliving everything that took place in the Dying Breed Enslavement. I don't want to give away any spoilers as far as how that occurs, but it was so much fun to get to bring Drebin back from the dead. And for those of you who know what his final words are in Dying Breed Enslavement, it was so much fun to play off of that. So anyways, I was like, dude, we've got to give Drebin a card. And of course, that is his opening line there. I don't know if you guys can even see it. Let's see. They can never kill Drebin the Dreadful. So yeah. So then, of course, we have Valiant Version Pepper, who is actually super strong when you actually look at it. Pepper has found himself in the heart of the masonry shop. His knowledge of stone surpasses those of others. Therefore, double the health provided by all stone materials attached to your golem. It's not how hard you can hit, but how hard you can get hit and keep on going. Don't give up, just get better. So I love that resiliency that we added to the card. But when you think about that, if you have quartzite stone with added HP of 800 and you have Pepper in your active augment slot with your golem, even if it's not even Drebin the Dreadful, that health card is now 16 HP, 1600 HP. That's more than the demonic metals. So that's where it's like, dude, if you have a Valiant Version of Pepper as your active augment and you have stone materials in your HP, dude, that is just mega, right? So anyways, that's been some of the fun of building the cards. But a part of it also was just like, I definitely know that we need to get to some play testing to really balance things out, because like that is just super mega OP. It just is. So that's where I'm like, do we need to make it so where you can only have one Valiant Pepper in your deck? Do we make it to where whichever golem, whichever active augment you have for the game is like you can only have one of those cards in your deck? I don't know. So that's where we need to really get to it. And then obviously I need to do some editing here because like Kionis is only a passive augment, active augment. Maybe we need to make sure that we clarify that better for people so that they know like, hey, these are the cards that can be used in an active augment slot. These are the ones that you cannot, or should that be enough to let you know what you can and cannot do? I don't know, but that's where we're so close to play testing already. I have already made an example deck for Drebin as the main golem, and Valiant Pepper may or may not be the active augment. I'm just saying because I was like, this is going to be cool. Oh, Kionis, now I have to go to Lit RPG Con in Denver. Yeah, dude, you definitely have to. It's going to be awesome. What's up, my dudes? Big Paul Hasseltine. What is up, dude? It's great to see you. Thanks for tuning in. We're just going over the Golem Master trading card game, the different cards. Now that it's out and in public knowledge, I'm giving everyone like an up-close look at all the cards and kind of explaining how the card game was built and set up. So again, the standard energy, the refined energy, and then you have the larger power core. So with the larger power core, the one who wields the energy controls the universe. This larger power core gives you a chance to do just that. Roll a d20 dice. If you land a 12 or 20, you may play an additional energy card on this turn. You are only allowed to have one larger power core in play at a time. So, and the reason I put this in there is because there are certain things you can do with attacks that remove items, like remove these upgrade items or golem upgrades, whatever. So that's where I was just like, yo, I want to make sure that, you can't have 4 larger power cores all applied so that you get 4 different dice rolls on a turn. That's just that's a little broken. So then you have a modified power core. A larger power core has to be attached before this upgrade can be added. This crude modified power core doesn't look pretty, but it works. This modified power core allows you to play an additional energy card per turn. You are only allowed to have one modified power core in play at a time. So we go from having a D20 dice roll to just having the ability to do 2 energy at a time. Huge advantage, right? Well, then you have the advanced power core. So, these would be stackable items. A modified power core has to be attached prior to playing this card. This advanced power core delivers far more than it may appear. This advanced power core allows you to play 2 energy cards per turn. You may also roll a d20. If you land a 15 or 20, play an additional card this turn. So you go from being able to play 2 cards to potentially playing 3 energy cards per turn. And when you think about that, that is a massive advantage. So I tried my best with some of the attacks and some of the items to balance out to where it's like, yo, my dude is about to play an advanced power core. I need to take out this item upgrade. So I need to get one of my runes or one of my weapons that can target specific items on the golem build and get rid of them. Is there a way to destroy items, or are they permanent? There is a way to destroy items, Q. Okay, so then we get into the material cards. We have the granite stone, which starts at 500 HP. We then have the Jadeite stone, 600, basalt, 700, quartzite is 800. These demonic metals are a little backwards. That's why I kind of want to do all of the card numbering just to make sure it's a little bit easier. But you have Scortanic, Void Plexium, and Infernacassium. So if you guys remember from book 1, there are 3 demonic metals that Pepper mentions and we talk about with Andrea's dad. So these, of course, these demonic metals are 1500 HP just by themselves. The demonic metal Scortanic, this demonic metal, due to its properties, is resistant to energy. Therefore, if you are attacked by a pure energy or electricity, roll a d20. If you land on an 11 or 20, take half the damage and apply it on your next attack. You may only have 1 demonic metal per deck. So think about that as well. Just because you have 1500 HP, so each turn you get to apply a material and play an energy card if you have them in your hand. So right now the setup is only that you can have 4 of one card in your deck. So I can only have 4 granite stone. I can only have 4 quartzite stone, etc. Additionally, you have to have at least 1 clay and 1 stone in each of your deck, which clay is at the bottom. And then there's the steel. So you have aluminum at 900, you have iron at 1,000, steel at 110, and then you have tungsten at 112. So, it's a way to say to people like, yeah, I'm just going to have a full metal golem for all of my health points. So obviously these metals need to be a little bit rarer for like a trading card value for if we get to the point of getting to do booster packs, things like that, because you obviously don't want to have a whole lot of people with metal, right? That's like, so we want the clays and the stones to be more common, the woods more than likely to be more common, things like that. But when you have, let's say you have 4 of these quartzite in your material, you then have a Scortanic demonic metal. You don't have to take the health points away from the Scortanic metal. You can be, if you're attacked with 800 damage from a pure energy rune, if you roll and land that D20, you can then put that damage against your quartzite stone. And you can keep having your Scortanic metal attached to then do that. So then you have Void Plexium. This demonic metal, due to its properties, is resistant to heat. Therefore, if you're attacked by fire or pure energy runes, roll a d20. If you land a 11 to 20, cut the damage in half. You may only have one demonic metal per deck. Then you have Infernicacium. This demonic metal, due to its properties, is resistant to psionic runes. If attacked with a psionic rune, roll a d20. If you land an 11 or 20, cut the damage in half. You may only have one demonic metal per deck. So the Scortanic is obviously the most powerful from that, but it doesn't mean that we can't make some refined Infernicacium or refined Void Plexium later on, or maybe even what do you call them? Gosh, I can't even think of it. When you combine metals together, so it allows us to have some nice play and some nice ideas going forward. But that's the demonic metals. You then have these metals here, which again allow you to have different properties or just different health points. And then we get into some of the elemental runes. Now, this is where I want to add more cards into the base set of just some pure energy. So what I mean by that is I had Lauren make these general runes. And they look so different compared to everything else that I was like, I don't necessarily like the look, but let's still utilize them for certain abilities. So, like you have Rune Wrap. During your turn, attach this card on one of your runes. This Rune Wrap remains on that rune until activated by your opponent. This effect protects one of your runes from any damage or effects, but is a one-time use only. You may only have one Rune Wrap in your deck. So, as you'll see, you can protect your rune, and it allows, if you have like a lot of elementals, like let's say you're doing a gravitational deck and you really want to have some gravitational runes, you want to protect your main gravitational rune, you can, if you pull a Rune Wrap, you can put that on there, protect it from one attack. Then you have Walls, which this one is really fun. You may play this card after your attack, and so it's an instant rune effect. Roll a d20. If you land a 15 or 20, you've added a wall. Continue to roll until you've either reached 5 hits in a row or landed outside your range. You've added a wall for each hit. Your opponent must land a 15 or 20 for each wall you cast. This effect expires after their turn. You are only allowed to have one Walls card in your deck. So think of it from like a Fortnite standpoint where you're building the walls around you to protect a barrier. That's exactly what Walls does, is you're casting this instant rune effect. If you land a 16, you've built a wall. Okay, I'm going to re-roll. I now landed an 18. I built a wall. I re-roll. I built a wall at 15. So I built 3 walls to protect me. And so now my opponent, if he wants to attack, he has to roll 3 times in order for his attack to go into effect. So again, it's just one of those fun instant things that we get to play with. Hold on. I have a text message here. I have to answer it. Okay, so then you have one of my favorites, the homage, dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge. The 5 Ds of dodgeball. You may play this card after your opponent activates their attack. Roll a d20. If you land an 11 or 20, you've dodged the attack and are left unscathed. You may only have one dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge card in your deck. So right now, Q, how many cards per deck? We are currently doing 75 cards in a deck to include your golem, which I don't know. Here we go. Let's see if I can open this up for us. Okay, so actually, let me make this a little bit easier for you to see. So let's grab a shape. Let's put this shape here. Let's send it to the back. Let's lock it in place, and then Boom. Okay. So the reason why I did 75 cards is I tried to come up with this. So this is the Drebin the Dreadful play deck example right now. So what I did was, where are the runes? Oh, that's right. So this is a melee deck, a melee heavy deck. So I tried to plan it out of like, if I'm just doing melee, what do I need? Well, I need my weapon cards. I need my other cards, the support cards, the other cards over here. And so I tried to do it to where 1, 2, 3, 4, there should be 20 health cards. 20 material cards is what this one is going for. I then have 20 cards over here. So in like looking at that and balancing it out, I just felt like 75 cards would be the best way to start the decks. But it's one of those things like once we get into the playtesting, if we're like, dude, we really need to make the decks up to 100, then okay, let's just do it up to 100. I think I thought it out to where right now the setup is you only get to have 7 runes in play. You can have as many materials as you want on your golem. I think once you get powered up and really going, you're going to be attacking so much with so much damage that your material cards are just going to be coming on and off the playing field. Hold on. So it'll more than likely be going on and off the playing field so fast that you won't have to really worry about this stacking up. But that's where the other thing was having the runes with the energy. You need to be able to see them easily out in the field. The same thing with your materials, the same thing with your upgrade items. And it's also to where it's only your hand you need to hide from it. There's no real trap cards that need to be face down. Any instant cards you have are going to be played directly from your hand. And so that's where also having the energy attached to your runes or attached to your golem. If I want to do melee attacks, I have to attach them to Mala or Drebin. If I want to do rune attacks, I have to power the runes with an energy as well. So there's just so much to your build that's where you have to play it all out. And so I think 75 cards is the best way to start out to test, and then we can add or decrease over time. Okay, so the dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge card, and then a redo card. So the odds were not in your favor. Play this card immediately after a dice roll, whether it is yours or your opponent's. You may re-roll your dice, or they must re-roll. You may only have one redo card in your deck. So again, this is just that one extra way where if Kionis and I are battling it out, he has this awesome attack and or effect. And like, let's say he needed to roll a D20 to get a critical hit. He rolls that D20. I can throw down this instant rune effect and make him re-roll. So then if he, of course, rolls a 13 and he doesn't get that critical, it at least saves me. So it's very similar to the dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge, the D5. So that's what I kind of liked as well is, let's say I have these 2 cards in my hand. I can only have one of them, but I'm going to throw an instant rune effect. Or let's say I throw down the redo, and let's say Q hits a D20 again. I then throw this down and I dodge out of the way and I save myself, right? But I could have started with the D5 to get away, and then I could save this redo card. If I needed an 11 or 20 to hit an attack and I rolled a 7, bro, like this could win me the game. I'm going to throw down the redo. I'm going to re-roll again, right? So that's where I really like those rune cards and what they do. But we'll go back up to the elementals. So we have fire, water, earth, gravity, ice, electrical, psionic. So those are the elemental runes that we have so far. The other thing that I really want to do is I love the electrical elements. I love the gravity runes. And I love the earth. All of them are awesome. The artwork that that Lauren made for these are just incredible. I mean, like the amount of detail that we have, it's so awesome. So the thing is I want to have standard energy runes. Like if you guys have been reading the books, you know, like there's different, like a energy beam, energy shot, energy ball, these imbued energy strike, things like that, force blast. There's these standard energy attacks that shouldn't have an element needed to activate. But so that's where I really need to create some more rune cards that achieves that. But so far, all we have is fire element, water, which a fire element rune is required to be in play and activated before you can use any other fire rune. Should this rune be taken out by an attack, all other fire runes become inactive. And you have to put one energy on this fire rune in order for it to work, right? So you have fire, you have water, you have earth. Dude, look, just look at how awesome that is. They're just beautiful. You have gravity, you have ice, you have the electric, you have psionic. It's so much fun. Okay, so then I tried to be as creative as possible. As you can see, like psionic, some of the runes are extremely powerful in damage. But with like the psionic dual bladed wave, if you have 2 energy attached to this attack, roll a d20. If you land a 19 or 20, your opponent must remove 2 energy. If you have 3 energy attached, your d20 roll adjusts to a 17 to 20. If you have 4 energy attached, your d20 roll adjusts to 15 to 20, and your opponent must remove 4 energy cards. So that's where the psionic runes can become massively powerful. And so it's not just the fact of like, I am hitting you with 1,000 damage, but this now with a d20 allows me to force you to remove 4 energy from one of your runes. So that's why it's important to have everything out in play. And for me to see like, dude, Q is really powering up his psionic dual bladed wave. I need to figure out a way to take out that rune, because if not, I am going to be completely screwed, or I need to do something. So that's that. You have psionic blast. If you have 3 energy attached to this attack, roll a d20. If you land a 17 or 20, your opponent must select 2 runes that are paralyzed for their next turn. So think about that. If I have a psionic blast and I have got 2 runes that I need to protect, and I only have 1 rune wrap card to play down, I could be paralyzed. And let's say I have earth, and let's say I have fire elementals. Well, if you hit me with a psionic blast, and here's the other thing. So if you roll a d20 with 3 energy attached, if you land a 17 or 20, I get to choose which 2 runes are taken out. But if you have 4 energy attached to the psionic blast, you roll a d20, you, my opponent, get to select 4 of your opponent's runes. I need to add that in there, that are paralyzed for their next turn. So you literally, with a psionic blast, get to choose which 4 of my runes I cannot use on my next turn. So if I only have 7 runes and you take out 4 that you choose, you basically crippled me for the next thing. So that's where, if you roll that 15 to 20 and I've got that redo card, that is super important to figure out when exactly you want to play that card. But obviously we need to adjust some of the grammar. Psionic shield. So this is the way a lot of the runes are set up. As you can see, the more you power up the rune, the more it allows you to add into your d20 roll. And that is exactly specifically done to give you that exciting element, to give you kind of more of that tabletop experience, to allow you to get in there and have a more involved, engaged feel. That was one of the things that I really wanted to do. So more than likely, we're going to make sure, like in the rule set, it says you need to have a d20 dice available, and it's also recommended you have an additional d20 for material and runes to use as a marker for certain effects. I don't know. We need to figure out that part. But so you have psionic shield, psionic shift. Then you get into the electrical where you have a chain reaction. If you landed 20, remove 1 energy off one of your opponent's runes. If you have 3 energy and land at 18 and 20, remove either 2 energy off 2 separate runes or just 1 rune. If you have 4 energy, land at 15 to 20, remove up to 4 energy off any rune or runes. So, chain reaction, right? You have electric bolt, you've got overshocked, you've got system zap, which was kind of fun. And then we get into fireball, wave of fire, scorching disc. You have an ice orb grenade, which this one, so as you can see, some of the psionics, like I started to adjust the damage, 600, 600, 600, 600, but it allows you to do more on the D20 roll. 1,000 damage here, but then the electrical, you have 1,400 damage, 800, 800, 800. Fire is pretty much set across the board, but 600, 800, where was it? There's one I did. If this rune has 2 energy attached to it, roll a d20. If you hit 16 to 20, add 200 damage. If you hit 1 to 5, take away 100 damage. If you have 3 energy attached, your range is 11 to 20 and add 400 damage, but take away 400 damage if you land a 1 to 5. If you have 4 energy and hit, add 600 damage. It's combining D&D, Magic, and Pokemon. I'm already looking at a deck to build. Exactly. That was what I wanted to make it unique, is I wanted there to be I wanted it to be basic to where if you have a younger kid that you're playing with, you literally could just sit down there and you could just work off of the damage and not even incorporate some of these dice rolls. If you are someone like me, where you found a lot more enjoyment on truly building the mechanics of the deck and how you want to try to hit everything, this is exactly where it comes into a lot of strategy and planning. And in reality, it doesn't matter per se how much of a golem you have or which golem you have, but how you build this deck. And that's where it's like, dude, I wanted there to be some stuff that really plays into it. So that was where, hey, you know what? The more elements we have and the more that you do these things, it allows it to make it a lot more fun. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, work has been hectic. No worries, my dude. No worries. We're literally going almost card by card through the Golem Master game. So yeah, so that's one of the ones too. Ice Wall, if this rune has 2 energy attached to it, reduce incoming damage by 400. If this rune has 3 energy attached to it, reduce incoming damage by 600. If this rune has 4 energy attached to it, reducing the incoming damage by 800. So again, this is where you have a rune which will allow you to do damage, but it also allows you to reduce, which again is one of those things of like, okay, I have this rune. It's a defensive rune. I may not have 4 of them in my deck because I only have 75 cards. But let's say I also have like a shield, which are some other cards we need to make. So I want to do some wood. I want to do some general energy, and I want to do some defensive items, some shields, because you'll see the offensive items here soon. You know, I want to have a standard wooden shield. I want to have an iron, a steel shield, a stone shield, an energy shield, different shields that you can have for defensive stuff on a melee side, but also from the rune side. So that's where, let's say I had a wooden shield at the very beginning of the game and now got destroyed. I took it away. So now this gives me that defensive item. So as a last resort, I can at least reduce incoming damage. So for Q, that's hit me with 1,600 damage from a psionic rune, I can at least take away 800 of that, and hopefully it's not going to massively impact my health points, right? My materials that I take off. So that's where you really have to have a lot of these cards out in front of you and know the cards, know how they work, and how to activate all of this going on back and forth. So that's where it didn't necessarily matter about having a bunch of golems in your deck like Pokemon, because it's not the Pokemon that you're really doing all this with. It's what materials you have and are using, what effects and other upgrades you have within your build. That is the balancing power between it all. Okay, so then you have Ice Age. If this rune has 2 energy attached to it, roll a d20 after your attack before your opponent's turn. If you land an 11 to 20, you may move 1 energy card from any rune or your golem. If this rune has 3 energy attached to it and you hit your d20, you may move 2 energy cards from your golem or any runes. So again, this is where I am going to at least put 2 energy on Ice Age so that I can utilize this. But I don't necessarily want it to be full power because maybe I am trying to power up my Ice Beam. So if this rune has 3 energy attached to it, roll a d20. If you land 18 to 20, you may select a rune of your opponent and destroy it. Right? So that's where, like we talked about with that Psionic. Dude, I know Q is powering that up. I've got an Ice Beam. I need to get as much energy onto this Ice Beam as possible. I need to take out that rune because then it thwarts his plan, right? Additionally, add 200 damage for each energy card attached to this card after it is fully powered with 4 energy cards attached. So again, let's say I am just down to my Ice Beam. I'm just going to keep throwing energy cards on this thing. I'm going to be hitting you with 1200 damage. I'm going to be trying to destroy your runes every attack. And I'm just adding more 200 damage per beam. Okay. So you've got Toxic Earth Cocoon. You've got Vicious Vines. If there are 2 energy cards attached to this card, roll a d20. If you land a 17 or 20, your opponent is wrapped up. They must hit a 11 to 20 on a d20 in order to attack. If there are 3 energy cards or more attached to this card, your range expands to 12 to 20. Their range to escape shrinks to 17 to 20. So again, Vicious Vines, like, oh man, dude, we really got to get out of that. So that's where, again, you could use your D5, your dodge, dip, dive, duck, and dodge card to try to get out of that. You could try to do a reroll. Will there be stacks, for example, countering a counter card? Try to rephrase that so I understand. I think I know what you're talking about. And there is 1 or 2 instant cards that you can play to get out of that. So I think I'm answering your question, but just try to rephrase it so I make sure I understand. Okay, so then you have Pillar of Earth. If there are 3 energy cards attached to this card, roll a d20. If you land 15 to 20, your opponent is lifted up on an Earth Pillar. They must hit an 11 or 20 on a d20 in order to attack. They then must hit an 15 or 20 for their attack to hit. This effect only lasts for 1 turn. So think about that. I've got an Earth Pillar. I hit you with it. Your golem is lifted up, like, and is on this pillar over the arena, towering over things. So not only do they have to hit and roll an 11 to 20 just to attack, but then because of the angle and it throws everything off, you then have to also hit sorry, I'm getting a phone call. You then also have to have them roll to just let their attack hit you again. Okay, Boulder Bombs. This was another one that I really love. So again, you only have 600, 800 max damage on the card. If there are, wow, I really need to redo that. You can tell when I made some of these cards when I was really sleepy because the grammar is terrible. If there are 3 energy cards attached to this card, roll a d20. If you hit between 50 and 20, roll again. Continue to repeat your roll until you don't hit between your range. For every hit you achieved until your streak ended, add 400 damage per hit. Example, 5x hit streak times 400 equals 2,000 damage plus base damage. So again, if you hit roll and land 5 hit streak, you're hitting with 2,000 damage plus whatever damage range you have. So again, Boulder Bombs, that could be like the thing that ruins it for all of you. You have a Boulder Bomb, you power it up, you literally could have a massive hit streak that just continues to go on and on and on, and you destroy your golem, your opponent's golem, with just one boulder bomb attack. So that's where, again, it's like you have to be able to see your opponent's runes and know exactly like, crap, that is the rune I need to take out. Pillar of Earth, I can work around that. Like, okay, that's cool. Like, yeah, he's going to damage me. But like, this may not look that intimidating at first until you play the game and you realize that is going to be a just huge thing. So then you have your water runes. You have Drowning. You have Water Cannon, Submerge, Thunderstorm. I need to call someone back. So that's where we're just going to go through these really fast. And you guys can just look at them because they're both up on the Facebook page and stuff like that. You have Flight. You have Compression Chamber for gravity. So the Flight one, Death from Above. If you have 2 energy attached to this card, roll a d20. If you land a 20, your golem is now in flight for 1 turn. Your opponent must roll a d20 and land a 15 to 20 in order to hit you. If you have 2 energy, your range is 15 to 20, but theirs is 18 to 20. If you have 3 energy, your range is 11 to 20. So think about that. If I have 3 energy, granted, 600 damage is going to be given to my opponent, but now I'm flying and they have to roll and land an 18 and 20 in order for their attacks to come up and hit me. Compression Chamber's fun. Gravity Blast, Pocket Poles. I just love making that name. If you have 2 energy attached to this card, roll a d20. If you hit 20, select one of your opponent's runes. They can't add an energy to that rune during their next turn. If you have 3 energy attached, your range is 17 to 20. If you have 4 energy attached, your range is now 15 to 20. You may also choose 2 of their runes. So, hey, man, if you've got that Boulder Bomb and I've got a Pocket Poles, then that's all I'm going to do is power this thing up and force you to not be allowed to place energy on your Boulder Bombs. Okay, and then you have Gravity Blast, which is fun. So then you have the instant runes that we talked about. You have Happy Princess Meg and you have Angry Princess Meg. So Happy Princess Meg. Princess Meg is always happy when you're ahead. Roll a d20 dice. If you land a 15 to 20, draw 5 extra cards. If you land in 16 to 14, draw 3 extra cards, right? And then, of course, Angry Princess Meg. If Princess Meg isn't happy, ain't nobody happy. If your opponent has more cards in their hand than you, then she isn't happy. Roll a d20 dice. If you land at 11 to 20, you pick 3 random cards that your opponent must discard. If you land a 1 to 10, they choose within which 3 cards to discard. Okay, so it kind of makes sense. Like, yo, Kionis just got 10 cards in his hand. I'm going to play Angry Princess Meg, and I'm going to make you get rid of some of those cards. We have Deranged Fan, which is an instant augment. So at any time, you can play Deranged Fan. So if I know that Q is about, like, I see that he put it on Boulder Bombs. I see that he just put a Refined Energy on it. I know he's about to use it. I can throw down a Paul Hasseltine card, the Deranged Fan. He's run into the arena, wrapped your opponent in a loving bear hug. Your opponent is immediately trapped and cannot get out of the bear hug unless they roll a d20 and land a 15 to 20. They skip their turn until they can land this critical roll. Okay, so I can basically instantly stop Q from doing anything if I throw down a Deranged Fan. Okay, so then we have Yeti Rock, a new golem. We then have Anubis, which, if you guys remember, Yeti Rock is coming from Stephen Landry's match in Book 1. Anubis, you will see later on in Golem Master Book 3. So then we have basic swords, imbued swords, which are just added damage to melees. You then have a Katana, which again, so this one's fun. The famous Japanese Katana sword is curved single-edged blade weapon. This melee upgrade allows you to have piercing damage. Roll a d20. If you land at 18 to 20, your opponent must choose 1 rune to discard. So there we go. If I've got a Katana, I throw it on my golem. I then put my energy on my golem, and I go for a melee attack, just trying to destroy one of your runes. Okay, so then we have dual swords. When wielding dual swords, you cannot have a defensive item or another melee upgrade item. This melee upgrade cannot be used by Yeti Rock. So then you have 800 for melee. So that's where, again, if I've got a Drebin deck and I'm going full melee, so I'm just going to be adding 800 damage. And let's say with Valiant Pepper, because I have so much health going on because of my Stone and Drebin, 200 damage plus the 800 damage, I'm just hitting you with 1,000 damage melee just over and over again, right? So it's just different things that you can do. Psionic Sword. When wielding Psionic Sword, you can temporarily block 2 of your opponent runes from being utilized. Roll a d20 after you announce your attack. If you land a 16 to 20, select 2 of your opponent's runes. They cannot use them on their next turn. You then got Battle Axe, dual Battle Axes, Bass Guitar Axe, Slashing Battle Axe. So this is one that I really love. So melee upgrade, Slashing Guitar Axe. Yo, what's up? Is that Brian's face? No, that's Paul Hasseltine's. Oh, Brian's face on the shirt? Yes. So, dude, that is where Lauren is amazing with the quality. So look at that. Paul is wearing a Major BJ shirt. Like, that is how insane detail Lauren is able to get. It's awesome. I absolutely love it. Okay, so you have the Battle Axes, the Slashing Guitar Axe. So this is the one of the ones that I really love. While wielding Slashing Guitar Axe, you're not just shredding the music scene, you're shredding your opponent's shields. If your opponent has any shield, physical or energy, roll a d20 on your attack. If you hit an 18 or 20, you cut through and land full damage. So boom, right? I love it. You then have an Electric Harp and Bow, which has some other things. So then we get into like the Golem upgrades, where you have a basic stabilizing system. So the stabilization system helps prevent your Golem from being dazed or phased from melee attacks. If your opponent attacks you and an ability or effect should daze or stun your Golem, roll a d20. If you land an 18 to 20, you are not affected. You then have advanced stabilizing system, which just opens up your range. You then have like fire suppression, which this fire suppression system must be attached to your Golem. If you receive a fire attack that has additional effects, roll a d20. If you land an 18 or 20, negate all negative effects you should have taken. You may repeat this on every attack until this upgrade is removed. So again, there are some attacks, if I remember correctly, which target specific upgrade items. So I can take out, like if I see a fire suppression, I can try to target this and get rid of it so that I can then use the rest of my fire attacks. Is this a 1v1 TCG or can you play in a pod? So Stephen Landry and I were talking about this. We have an idea for an expansion, which we would more than likely call the Rift Wars. So if you guys remember from book 1, the Rift Wars was the demonic wave and everything that happened. So what we're thinking of doing is making a Rift Wars expansion where it's going to be however many players versus the demonic attack. So we would have a special demonic deck that is set up in a way that each turn you're basically playing down a new demon, and you, the collective group of your party, are using your golems and your build to try to fight the demon that you're facing. So we have an idea for a Rift War expansion that can make it a 3v system or a 2v system, whatever you want to play. But the standard game set is just a 1v1. But I'm sure, like, as we get more into it, we can think about having a 4v4, where like a 1v1v1v1, right? Where you have 4 and you're battling it out as more of like a true battle arena with multiple. I don't see why not. I just feel like that would be super chaotic. But hey, whatever. You then have a ground fault system. You then have basic copper mesh cards, an advanced copper mesh card. You have internal heat system, which I need to change this because I didn't know if I was going with ice or frost. So we need to just adjust some of the wording. You have basic stabilizing clamps, advanced stabilizing clamps. This one, smoke grenade. So you have an instant augment here. At any time, you may play this card. However, its effects last for 1 full turn, both you and your opponent. Smoke fills the arena. Roll a d20. You or your opponent must hit an 18 to 20 in order to land your attack. Example, you play this card as your opponent attacks. Its effects take effect and remain until it is back to their next turn. So Q's going to hit me with an attack. I throw down a smoke grenade. It's filling the arena with smoke. He has to hit that in order to land an attack. But I myself also have to throw down and hit that in order to attack on my next turn. Once that's done and it's back to him, the smoke grenade is dissipated in the arena. You then have a flashbang. At any time, you may play this card. This flashbang prevents your opponent from taking whatever action they were about to. Play a support card, stopped by this flashbang. Attack, stopped by this flashbang. Sometimes it's not the size of the grenade, rather how good you bang. Which, yes, that was purposely phrased that way. Hand grenade, damage variable. You may deploy this grenade only during your turn. A grenade may be used in addition to your attack. Roll a d20. If you land a 20, your opponent takes 800 damage. And you take out 2 of the runes of their choice. If you land a 15 to 19, your opponent takes 400 damage. If you land a 16 to 14, they take 200 damage. 1 to 5, they take 100 damage. So again, it's just another way to modify that attack. And so then we go into the clay cards because they were the last ones that I made for this base set. Added HP is 200. Then you have 300 for Northern Gray Clay. You have Abomination Clay, which is coming in from book 2. This Abomination Clay has properties that make it resistant to psionic attacks. If attacked with a psionic rune, roll a d20. If you land an 18-20, cut the damage in half. If you have either basic or advanced copper mesh attached, you gain a dice roll advantage. You now have a +2 on basic mesh and a +3 on advanced mesh. So if I have mesh, copper mesh card, I now have to hit a 15 to 20 and I take half of the damage, right? Then you have Hydro Clay, which is basically the same, but for water. If you have the Advanced Epoxy, which, wait a minute, where is Advanced Epoxy? Oh, dude, I'm missing 2 cards here. There should be a basic epoxy and an advanced epoxy, which are basically the same Golem upgrades. It's just to prevent water. So yeah, so I need to add that. Okay, so then the red clay properties make it resistant to fire attacks. If you have the fire suppression system, you get to add those numbers to your dice roll. That is literally the entire base card set for season 1. So this is showing 107 cards. Obviously, I'm missing the epoxy. So we need to add that. So that's actually 109 or whatever. And then I still want to do wood for materials. I still want to do wood, some shield, some defensive shield items. And then I'm thinking of maybe 1 or 2 other support cards. Like we need to figure, that's why I want to get into play testing and see like what other support card functions do we need to do to hit and to take care of all that stuff. So yeah, but that is it. All right, you guys, I've been hitting you guys for 1 hour and 13 minutes. I need to call someone else back because I missed their call. So yeah, that is that. Hopefully you guys are excited. Obviously, you guys can see like there's been a lot of work that has been put into the cards, a lot of thought about how the game would actually really play out and make it super unique and super fun and engaging and something that you keep wanting to come back and play more. And I really feel like the D20 dice roll is what helps to keep that engaging and keep it like truly competitive because, you know, it's one thing where you get these Pokemon matches in the world tournaments where someone just lands the right cards in the right succession. They just get all the hits they need and they're using the card's abilities and you can have 1-turn matches. I don't necessarily want that. So I want the D20 roll that it makes it to where it's like, dude, you can't just have a 1-turn game. And I want these instant cards to be there to really throw off your opponent, kind of like the Yu-Gi-Oh side where you have the traps and other things like that. So that's why I've tried to really take the last couple of years, because I remember that original season, the original base set of the Pokemon cards, and it was so basic that it was terrible. Like we hated it because you were so locked into certain things that I wanted to have a base set of cards that made everything super engaging, and allowed us to have a great foundation that already has fun playment, but then it allows us to be more experimentative with like the art. So meaning I absolutely love Anubis. Anubis is one of my favorite cards just because of the artwork, just because of how awesome it is. So that's where I'm like, dude, I would love for season 2's card set to be nothing but Egyptian gods. And then let's pair them against Greek gods, or let's pair them up against orc zombies. So those would be like the main golems we highlight in season 2. Season 3, let's make it all about dragons and minotaurs, or dragons and centaurs golems. And let's just have like a huge season run of that, where that's when you start to get into the creativity, and that's when you start to get into a lot of the collection side. But the base mechanics of the game still are that same type of variation. So that's that. Okay. I hope you guys are excited. If you have more questions, feel free to put them in the chat so I can look at them later. But I definitely need to go and call this other individual back. So you guys, thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you guys are just as excited as I am about oh wait, shoot. We need to put all the people on the thing. Bam. Okay. I hope you guys are all excited about the Golem Master TCG and where the future is going for this. So obviously it's all based off the books. Book 2 is coming out on the 20th of June of this year. It's up for pre-order now on Amazon, so go check it out. But again, a huge shout out to these people, the Dying Breed community, Warrior Bernard, Fighters Maxwell, Foster and Q, who are in the chat, Guardian Wilkie, Soldiers Basel, Little Panda Aiden, Unwired, Jessica Wargo, who just joined us like 2-3 days ago, Defenders LG, Jodan, Aoife, Landry, and Sam. They were the ones that were really like secretly funding this and supporting by all of their donations to the Patreon and their support. So like the TCG would not be here if it wasn't for them and their encouragement along the way. So yeah, a huge shout out. Thank you to them. I hope you guys are excited, and hopefully I will see you guys next week. So, all right, talk to y'all later.
Yeah, I don't believe in destiny, I just do what's best for me. Don't listen to my enemies, they're just full of jealousy. Yeah, this legacy, you gon' see what's left of me. You gon' see success in me, you ain't seen the rest of me. I just wanna be the best at what I know, better than the rest, just watch me grow. Put me to the test and watch me go. This is my quest, I'ma make it known. They call me obsessive, oh I know. Call me selective with my notes, call me aggressive with my flow, call me offensive even though yo, I ain't gonna lie, life's tough. Try to get by, life's rough. Try to do it right, it's not enough. Even though you try, you still mess up. But I'm still gonna fight for what I love, still gonna die for what I love, still gonna try, I won't give up, still gonna fight until I've won. They say I'm way too obsessed and I've got nothing left, and I'm not quite there yet, but those words they'll regret, cause I've got something left and I'm not giving in. I will not let them win, I won't stop till the end, no. Some injuries, mentally and physically. Studied them religiously so I don't repeat history. And people won't admit to me they don't want a victory. Bad enough to get a C, they'd rather just go leave it be. And oh, this journey I've been on since 13, working hard and learning, never stopping searching. Yeah, it's burning, all this passion hurts me. I took action